and welcome back to another episode. This is Straight Talk, and I'm your host, Michael Hamburger. And I promise you today that this could be an hour that completely changes your life. And in turn, it could change your bank account and your multi-level marketing business forever. I've got a power hour. We've invited 3 very special guests to join us here today that I promise you're going to want to take some notes, because today's show could change everything for you and have your business go hockey stick growth. Now, I look back to my career. I got started in network marketing back in 1998. And as I look back, to think that if I had guests like this that were mentors for me back then, my story would be a little different. You know, back in 1998, I got introduced to network marketing, and I was the guy that knew everything. I knew all the answers before I knew what the questions were. And wouldn't you know, after 6 arduous weeks, I quit and started focusing on my 6-figure corporate career. Now, the guests that we're going to bring on here today, they are the people that I've handpicked for you, because each of them brings a specialty, a craft, a skill set that they've invested hours and hours in developing. And as a direct result of that, they've watched their business and their bank accounts explode. So as I look back, I think about, what if I knew how to launch my business the right way? How different would things be? What if I knew how to develop myself and my team with leadership capabilities and leadership skills that would ultimately boost my checkbook and my organization? And then finally, what if I knew how to take my business and knew how to grow it with long-term success principles? So I wasn't just a flash in the pan, but I actually could learn what it would take to dig in and to grow my business for the long haul. Well, what we have in store for you here today, as I said, are 3 very unique guests. Our first guest is a gentleman out of New Orleans, Mr. Jeremy Roma. Jeremy is a profound expert in the area of what it means to launch your business. Not just starting your business, not just signing a distributor agreement, but the skill set required to launch your business so you create momentum, and in that momentum it creates stories, success stories within your team, a check so that people in your team are getting paid, and it creates that stick-to-itiveness, if you will, so people want to be with you and they want to grow their team. My next guest is a gentleman out of Queen Creek, Arizona, the incomparable Travis Flaherty. And Travis is a guy who knows what it takes to build your team on a leadership development skill set. He's a guy that's built countless leaders in his organization, and he watches his check just completely scream out of control month out of month out of month. And then finally, our third guest here today, he's one of the who's who that network marketing companies look to. They bring him in as a generic trainer that shows people exactly what it takes, not just to build your team, but to build your bank account with that sustainable growth. And I'm talking about none other than Mr. Todd Falcone here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I want you to stay tuned, and I want you to be taking notes here today, because think of this as the college introductory class. No matter where you are in your business, whether you're brand new, you're just getting started in network marketing, by the way, welcome to our profession. You're in store for a treat. But maybe you're brand new. Maybe you're somebody who has been struggling along and you're ready to hit that giant reset button so you can go from just a little toe in the water to all chips in and seeing your bank account absolutely explode. Or quite possibly, you're a leader in your organization and you want to know how to take it to that next level, that out-of-control momentum where business starts clicking for you. You're going to want to stay tuned here today, but you're also going to take some notes, because what you're going to see is that some profound differences can happen. Now, I'm not going to promise you that by just watching this show that things are going to change for you. But what I hope for you is that this is the little switch that happens inside yourself, inside your business, and that you realize that you can do it. The only difference between marketers who are having tremendous success in network marketing and people who aren't is the skill set and the action. So right here today, stay tuned. As I said, we have a great show in store. My name is Michael Hamburger, and we're going to be right back after these messages, and we've got some crazy guests for you here today, and this is the start of your business, and it starts right now. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Michael Hamburger, and as promised at the top of the hour here, we've got 3 very unique and very distinctive guests that are joining us here on Straight Talk. And as I shared, each of my guests today bring a very unique skill set and expertise to the table here that I truly believe is going to assist you in catapulting your business. Our very first guest is a dear friend of mine, Mr. Jeremy Roma. Jeremy is tuning in from Slidell, Louisiana. Jeremy, you look great. How are you doing today?
Awesome, Michael. Great to be on the show with you, man. It's an absolute privilege.
I'm thrilled you've taken time out of your busy day to join us, and along with our other two guests. But Jeremy, I've invited you on the show because in my mind, you are the foremost expert in really teaching people how to properly launch their business. And I know, Jeremy, you've been doing this network marketing thing for several years. I know it's worked out quite well for you. You've made an absolute fortune, and you've built some very large teams. But I know that part of your your leadership development has been that you've actually left companies before and started from ground zero. You didn't take the first team and go to the other team, bring it with you to the next company. I would love for you to share with our Straight Talk viewers today, specifically some of the insights, some of the secrets you've developed and the skill sets you've developed to really launch your business and how to launch it properly.
Absolutely, Michael. I'd be happy to. I've had the privilege of learning from some of the, what I would definitely say are the experts when it comes to launching. Some folks that have done some things in the launch process that I've never seen done before in the industry. And so I'm excited to share a little bit of what I've learned, in that process for some of my mentors. The idea behind a launch is pretty simple. It's really compressing time frames. Saying I'm going to do more in a short period of time or as much in a shorter period of time than what maybe someone else might do in a longer period of time. Maybe I'll do in 30 days what someone else might do in 12 months. And it's really the idea behind a combustion engine or a rocket ship going into orbit. There's more energy exerted at the liftoff of a rocket ship in the first 2 minutes than in the entire 7-day orbit of that rocket ship around the solar system. And the real purpose of the momentum ultimately is it's designed to create that momentum. It's the ability to really watch your organization grow and duplicate and really grow away from you based upon that compression of time frames, that massive amount of action in a very short period of time. The real goal, though, of the launch is really to create stories. And it's not just creating our story, but it's really creating stories within the organization. And the key to that, Michael, is that they're not just success stories, but they're system-driven success stories. There's a lot of folks that try to launch, and they launch based upon skill set. And that's really that's a sabotaging decision, because when you launch on skill set and you have success based on skill set, what happens is that success is not very duplicable. But when you launch through a system, when your launch is really focusing your energy on massive action within your company's system in a short period of time, it's real life, real time, system-driven success stories that really is the ultimate key to unlocking momentum in network marketing.
Yeah, Jeremy, that's some really great information right there. I'd love for you to share maybe some real-world insight, right? So it wasn't that long ago that you left a company where you had built a mighty large check and a very large team, and you launched with the company you're with currently. And you've done some out-of-this-world type results, as the entire company has. Share maybe some of the stats with our viewers today.
Absolutely, Michael. It was in 2010. And, I'm not a company jumper, but it was a business decision that I made after 8 years with a company and an amazing experience. But it was time to go to a new chapter. And so one of the decisions that I made is that I was not going to bring, not that there's anything wrong with this in the right scenario, but I was not going to bring my current organization from that company into the next launch. And so, it was a tough scenario to be in because a lot of my network, had been established in that company. But out of relationships and a personal decision, I said, I'm going to really go outside of my existing network in that previous company and really go outside of that existing team and launch. And so I made a list of 157 names. And what I did is I made a decision that I was going to contact those 157 people. My goal was to do it in 48 hours. It ended up being almost 4 days, about 3.5 days of 18 hours a day of contacting and calling and getting them to view a website presentation. My goal was as quickly as possible, talk to as many people as possible in my warm network. And that was 157 people. Out of that, Michael, 144 of them told me no. 13 of them said yes. And those 13 people coming out of the gate in those first few days ended up becoming the army that we were able to run with. And it's not that we stopped building or recruiting, but that energy and that launch of those first few days allowed me to get all of the no's out of the way quickly so that we could find the ones that say yes. One of the things that I believe is, I think people make the mistake is they try to choose their dream team. There were people that I would have chosen who were part of the 144 that said no. And there were some people that I didn't anticipate getting excited and running with this that actually said yes. What I realize is it's not my job to choose the dream team. It's my job to tell the story and share the information and let them decide if they want to be a part of this next movement. So when you're launching your business, don't prejudge who your dream team is going to be. When you're launching your business, it's your responsibility to simply get the story out to every single person in your network as quickly as possible.
That's awesome information there. So, I can tell you, a lot of people might have gotten discouraged about 144 people telling them no. I love the fact that rather than focusing on that, you focus on the 13 that said yes. I know you're being very humble. The 13 that said yes became a 30,000 plus organization in a relatively quick amount of time. So congratulations on that. And that's being laser focused and going after it in the right direction. So when you have this experience where you really go down and you go in that launch mentality, are there any conversations you should be having with the people around you, preparing the people around you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first conversation you have to have is with yourself. I always say the most important sale you make is yourself. And you got to make sure that you're sold, because guess what? When you launch a new business project, there are going to be obstacles. And some of the folks you thought were going to get fired up may actually go the other direction and think you're crazy. You never know what's going to happen. And so you have to mentally be prepared that you're sold on this project, and you have to be able to know why you're sold, because when opposition comes, you want to be solid on the business decision that you're making. But the second conversation you have is with those closest to you, your family members. Because the reality is this, Michael, when we go into a launch mode in business, as entrepreneurs, we are very off balance for a period of time. But the reality is our goal is to be able to live a very off balance life on the other side of the spectrum. That off balance life meaning we're getting paid for a lot of money with very little daily activity, energy, and effort, and that we're enjoying a residual income that creates a lifestyle of freedom. For most people, that's off balance. But in order to be off balance on the side of financial freedom, you have to be willing to be off balance on the side of massive activity. Now that means, for me, it meant some nights away from my kids those first 90 days. It meant some days away. It meant some, times where they wanted to, talk and hang out and watch a movie where I was launching our next conference call for that day or getting ready to go to our next home meeting or my next three-way call. So I had to prepare them to be off balance. So what my mentor taught us is said, look, set a goal and with your family and say, when we reach the goals that we're going after in business, let's reward ourselves. And what do you want out of this? And so I was able to sit down with my family, talk to both of my children, and they set some goals of some things that they wanted. So when we hit certain marks in business, they were rewarded then for their sacrifice for allowing me to be off balance. The other thing I want to say, Michael, is the launch is not for everybody. Not everybody is emotionally, mentally, or even in their network in a position to launch. And what I mean by that is, in order to be able to launch, you have to be able to have a list of 100 to 500 names. You have to have some level of influence and credibility where when you call some folks on the phone and say, I'm launching a business project, I don't know if it's for you, but if it is, you'll be really excited I shared it with you. And some of those folks are going to watch the video or attend the conference call or come have coffee with you. So the launch isn't for everybody. 95 to 98 to 99% of people in network marketing are going to be on a 2 to 5 year path. They're not going to come out of the gate and for 90 days reach, massive momentum. They're going to do a little bit over time consistently, and they're still going to reach their goals of financial freedom. The launch is for those people that want an outcome so bad. They have reasons inside of them that are driving them that are so big and so emotional that we're willing to do what most people aren't willing to do. So don't be discouraged. If the art of the launch in this conversation today is overwhelming for you, that's okay too, because every great company and team has a very solid part-time path and system that can get you where you want to go over time. But for those folks that say, I want to get as far as I can, as fast as I can, I got to tell you that the compression of time frames and that building with speed is going to make it a lot more fun and a lot easier, and you're going to get those results a lot faster.
Jeremy, excellent information. We've got less than 40 seconds left here. Any final thoughts about how to launch?
Absolutely. Michael, focused organization. There's one thing and one thing only that we need to be focused on in this launch process, and it's getting people the information so they can make a decision, collect decisions, organize your time, and fill it with one activity, and that's showing the plan.
Jeremy, great information. Thanks for sharing so much with our viewers today. We're going to definitely have you back on the show sometime in the future. And for those of you guys and gals, stay tuned. We've got a couple other phenomenal guests. We'll be right back after this message. This is Straight Talk. Hi, and welcome back to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Michael Hamburger, and I'm thrilled you've taken the time out of your day to tune in with us. As I share with you at the top of our program, this is the Powerhouse Show. Doesn't matter where network marketing you are, this show and our host here today can absolutely assist you in catapulting your business. Now, online with us for this next segment, I have Travis Flaherty. Travis is known throughout the industry as a guy who shoots straight. He is a leader among leaders. He's been a speaker at many, many events, both company-wide as well as generic events. And Travis, thank you for taking time out of your day to tune in here and share some insight with our viewers.
Hey, Michael, thank you very much for having us. I'm excited to be here and excited to be on your show.
Well, Travis, one thing that I really admire about you and the success that you and your wife, Summer, have had is that you've been a builder, not just one time, but more than once. Rather than trying to rape and pillage your team at the companies where you exited for whatever reason, you were a guy that said, okay, if I can build it once, I can build it twice. And I've invited you here today to talk about success through building and developing leadership.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's one of my favorite topics. John Maxwell says that everything rises and falls on leadership, and at the end of the day, if you want to attract better quality individuals to your team, then leadership is something that you better take an interest in. And, Michael, I think that a lot of times people that are coming into this profession because of the programming that we've had through school and a lot of times at our regular jobs or at work, we confuse leadership with great management skills. And they are polar opposites. In this business, you can't demand performance. You have to inspire performance. And this is one of the biggest differences between corporate America and network marketing. I like to say that in this industry, there has to be a balance of that one half leadership, but also that one half followship. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know in corporate America, we have our managers that shake their fists at us and tell us the way we should be doing things. But here in network marketing, I think you would agree, we lead from the front by example. It's our doing where it inspires people to actually go out and do it themselves.
People do what they see, not what they're told. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. What other principles do you see as far as developing leadership within your team?
Well, there's some foundational pillars of success that are must-haves. They're non-negotiables if you want to go out and grow a large organization. And I think at the top of that list has to be trust and honesty. To be persuasive, we have to be believable. And to be believable, we have to be credible. And to be credible, we have to be truthful, right? This is Trust 101. It's doing what you say and never deviating from that standard. You have to be in integrity, and you got to be a 10 in this category. There's no other option if you're looking to develop a following in this business.
I was just on a sailboat last weekend, and this was one of the topics of conversation, is that if you just do what you tell people you're going to do, you are head and shoulders above all the people out there that don't keep their word. There's no integrity to their word. There's no follow-through. So you're absolutely right. When you do what you say you're going to do, people notice. They're watching what you do. They're watching what you don't do.
Absolutely. In the end, it's the character that matters. Leadership descends from great character, period. And I would also add to that, when it comes to leadership, I think the confidence is really important. Do people believe you can do what you say you can do? Do you have the confidence in yourself? Because if you don't believe in yourself, then why would anyone else believe in you? Right? One of the most critical elements of a serial leader is just the ability to be able to demonstrate that you can do what you can say. You can do what you say you can do. And I think that a lot of times confidence, what's going on and what we think about on the inside definitely shows up on the outside.
That's being authentic with folks and not trying to show people, painting the picture that this is the easiest thing they've ever done. Look, I'll be the first to tell you, network marketing is not easy. It's simple. Network marketing is not easy. It's worth it. The better we get at our craft, the easier it becomes. The more you have success, the easier it comes. But I would be the first to tell people, hey, don't kid yourself. This isn't just, throw some magic pixie dust out there and things happen. It's you do the work and the juice becomes very worth the squeeze. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Oh, couldn't agree more. You playing small doesn't serve the world, and I think that when we believe in ourselves, we have that confidence in ourselves. And I'm not talking about arrogance. There's a big difference between confidence and arrogance. When the ego starts to come in and you start to believe your own press, and Michael, you and I have both seen this happen many, many times, and I know that I've been guilty of this. And that's when you start to, you're no longer pull marketing, right? You start to push marketing. You start to push people away from you. I'm just talking about a quiet confidence, and I think that that's so important today.
Yeah, I think part of that quiet confidence is authenticity. Being the person you are on stage, the person that you are right here on camera, and making sure that's the exact same person you are when the lights are off, the camera's not rolling, your downline's not in the audience, and you actually are who you are 100% of the time, publicly and privately.
Absolutely. Yeah, another one is a leader, your job is to be the dream merchant. The leader, you got to sell the dream. You got to encourage the team to hang on for the duration. A leader has to have that crystal clear vision of the future, and then they have to work it backwards. They've got to inspire confidence in others. And another thing is every single person within the organization, they've got to subscribe to the fact that they are a leader. I think a lot of times too many of us are looking up for leadership. I had a distributor call me from another country just a couple of days ago, and we had this conversation, and he was talking about how, he's looking for leadership on the ground in his country. And I said, go look in the mirror, because you're that leader. And I think a lot of times people don't realize or don't subscribe to the fact that they are the leader.
Yeah, I think part of that may be the condition, the limiting belief conditioning that people pick up along the way. Somebody somewhere said they weren't good enough, and they made that their reality, the hymnal they started singing from. But, as you said, we are merchants of hope. We are people that should be out there selling the dream, not just selling the cream. And as people start to believe in themselves, and they start to realize that, hey, I am just a few small steps, a few small actions away from getting my first check. It's that first check that is that spark that people believe that, oh my gosh, if I can do it once, I can do it again and again and again. What do you think about that?
No, you're absolutely right. I think that belief is important. I think that you have to take ownership of the vision for those that you lead, even if it's only yourself. I'm going to say that again. You got to take ownership of the vision for those that you lead, even if it's yourself. And I agree. The leader has to kindle the flame. They've got to spark the spark every step along the way. And this is an area that you can't afford to teeter-tot on. You can't believe one day and question the next. You can't go in and out of this. This is just an area when it comes to leadership that people follow people that are confident. People follow people that are certain. People follow people that know where they're going, and they have that's where that respect comes from. And too many people are in and out of this all the time.
For our viewers at home, we're almost out of time in the segment, but I really want to encourage you. What Travis is sharing right now, what it brought up for me was Andy Andrews, who's a gifted speaker, talks about Cortez and burning the boats. So your homework today, for those of you viewing from all over the world, is to Google Andy Andrews and Cortez burning the boats. Travis, we're almost out of time. We've got about a minute here before we cut to our next commercial. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with our viewers from all over the planet?
Yeah, I'd like to leave you with this final thought. Network marketing, people get confused. They think that it's all about the money, and the money is often put at the forefront of what we do. But here's what I want you to understand. Network marketing is about who we become in the process and who we help along the way. The money is a byproduct of those two things. When you come from a place of service and you come from a place of serving others and not selling others, that's when you're going to start to achieve your dreams.
Powerhouse stuff, Travis. Hey, I would like to have you on again. We've got to cut to commercial. Time flies. This is Michael Hamburger, Straight Talk. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Michael Hamburger. And as I shared at the beginning of our program here today, this is the Powerhouse crew. My guests have been handpicked because they are the who's who in network marketing. We share with you how to launch your business properly, how to grow your business, and our next guest is going to show you how to have massive success throughout your network marketing career. And I'm speaking about none other than the fearless networker, Mr. Todd Falcone. Todd, welcome. Thank you for being here on the show with us today.
Michael, my pleasure. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, I know you're just back from a 30-day world tour. Where were your travels?
I just wrapped up a month-long speaking tour throughout all of Australia. I did 19 events in 26 days and got home on Monday. So it's good to be back home after a great month-long tour.
I'm sure it is great to be home, and I'm sure the people in Australia definitely appreciated the insight and knowledge you left with them. Well, Todd, you're known as a guy who people don't know what's going to come out of your mouth because you don't tell people what they want to hear. You share with people what they need to hear and how to grow their network marketing business. Would you say it's a good overview for that?
I definitely do not beat around the bush, no.
Right on. So, I invited you on here today to really share with our viewers how to become super successful, not just short term, but super successful long term.
Absolutely. Awesome.
I purchased some of your information, 10 plus years ago. I bought your Insider Secrets of Recruiting Professionals as well as your little black book of scripts. And I can tell you they made a definitive difference in my business as well as my bank account. So first off, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Second off, I'd love for you to talk to our listeners, our viewers, and share with them really the steps to being successful long term.
Well, if my mind takes me right back to right when I got, actually before I was ever an entrepreneur, the very first lesson I learned on being successful, I learned from a guy I met in college who taught me how to sell cable television door to door. And here's the thing about that. This guy had something that I wanted, which was a big, thick wad of cash in his hands at all time, and I had nothing. And he had something that I wanted. I wanted what he had. He had the willingness to show me how to get what he had, but he had one rule. And the rule was you do it my way or you don't do it at all. In other words, he had a very specific way of doing what he did. And if I deviated from that plan, he wouldn't teach me. So I was like, hey, no problem. I'll do it your way. Well, later I find out that his way was actually selling cable television 100% in Spanish. I had taken some Spanish classes in school, but I wouldn't say I was bilingual by any means. And he gave me a script, actually. It was the very first script that I was given. And the script was in Spanish. So I had to sell to my clients 100% without speaking any English, which was a little challenge. But the rewards were that he and I were number one and number two week in and week out every time on the sales board. So what he did worked. And that was a lesson that I've taken in a lot of areas in my life where if somebody has something that you want and they're willing to show you how to get it, you do it the way they teach it to you. You don't deviate.
So having a system, having a script equal a big wad of cash in your bank account.
Yeah, I mean, he had the wad of cash and he had the methodology or the method, the way of getting it, and he was willing to show it to me, and I was wanting to learn it. So I thought, heck, I'll do it your way. I don't have a way yet.
I definitely see the parallels for somebody, whether they're getting started or whether they're actually in their business right now. So what you're saying is find a mentor and follow their system and use their scripts.
Yeah, and then taking that directly into network marketing, and I see a lot of people that come into network marketing, and they don't have a way yet. They've never done network marketing, and they want to kind of put their own spin on it. Like, I'll give you a quick example. This happens all the time. Somebody comes into a business, and like, I don't want to talk to my friends and family, and so they are already through. And look, I mean, I don't care what network marketing business we're talking about. The best way to get started in a network marketing business is to talk to people that you already have some relationship with. The people that go against that are the ones that are trying to sell a marketing system. Hey, don't beg your friends and family. I've never begged my friends and family to begin with. I shared with them what I was doing. So they're feeding off the fears that people have. The reality is that the single best way to get started in the network marketing business is to talk to people that you already have a relationship with, which is very easy to do. It's easier to sponsor those people and to follow a system and then have somebody come into a business and say, I don't want to do I don't want to do it that way. They're already showing that that they don't even want to be coachable. So coachability to me is one of the most paramount things of being a success story in this business.
You know, I can definitely relate to that. I know in my very first network marketing business, as I shared at the top of the hour, I wasn't coachable and I did things the wrong way. So I'm definitely hearing that, because I can tell you becoming coachable was the difference between making no money and making a lot of money. So I appreciate you bringing that up. What other secrets would you share for folks for long-term success in our space?
This is some people aren't gonna like this, but put all of your eggs in one basket. You know, I don't know what, I'd like to meet the guy. I think the guy who said, don't put all your eggs in one basket, is probably a cousin to the guy that said, you know, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. To me, putting all of my eggs in one basket puts all of my focus on that basket, all of my attention on that basket, rather than I've got, one egg in 12 different baskets. So, people get the whole idea from, guys like Robert Kiyosaki, who talks about multiple streams of income, and they take it and they misunderstand it, and they think, well, maybe I should have multiple network marketing companies. And then they end up trying to build multiple deals at the same time, which is a recipe for failure. So when I say putting your eggs in one basket, one of the reasons why I've been as successful as I have for now 26 years in this profession is because of my focus on finding something that I'm going to do, approaching that thing and going right after that, focusing on that one thing rather than, being deviated in a bunch of different directions, which causes lack of focus and causes your result to diminish.
Hey, the name of the show is Straight Talk, because that's exactly what we're having here. No smoke, no mirrors, no hype, just right down to the nitty gritty. What you're sharing is no plan B. Burning the boats, not having your eggs in multiple baskets, and what they say, the man who chases two rabbits catches none. So great information there. What else would you share?
It. Served me well.
What else would you share? We've just got a few minutes here before we wrap up this segment. What other advice would you give to whether the brand new person or whether it's the experienced network marketer that's looking to hockey stick their growth?
One of the things that I shared throughout this tour in Australia is success is this. Success is finding things that work and repeating the things that work, and then finding things that don't work and deleting the things that don't work. So you repeat what works, you delete what doesn't. So what I would suggest that you do, and I actually have one of these, I have a journal right here in my hand, and if I do something that works, it goes in the journal. Like if I do something really cool, I went, wow, that worked really well. It goes in the repeat side of the page. And then I have a delete side of the page. And if something I've done doesn't work very well, then I'm going to go, okay, I don't want to do that one ever again. So it gives me a reminder. Hopefully I learned through making one mistake, but putting it on paper and going, okay, that didn't work out so well. I'm going to delete that from my repertoire. Then I'm going to remember not to do that. So success is fairly simple. As you go after something, you find things that work, you continue to do the things that work. In other words, you repeat the things that work. You find things that don't work. You go, okay, I'm going to do less of what works, more of what does work. And you end up finding yourself getting better results.
You talked about one of your early mentors, and you just, with your repeat versus delete, you're making me think of one of my early mentors, my first $1 million mentor. And he said, Michael, never bang your head against the same wall twice. So I appreciate that you bringing that up. Todd, I know I just picked up a copy of a new course called Cracking the Code of Success. We've just got a couple seconds here before we wrap up the segment. Anything you'd like to share with our viewers about this new stunning course you have?
Real quickly, I spent 9 months in 2014 producing a very comprehensive training system, which I really look at as an A to Z training system on building a network marketing business, from the very first point of getting started to dealing with your first challenge or obstacle, to getting into team building and dealing with politics and all the other things that go on with, being a long-term success story in network marketing. I got in the studio, put together a 19-disc, 6-volume set that we released last year called Cracking the Code to Success in Network Marketing, and it's it's basically what I was traveling around and making available and talking about in Australia this last month, and really here in the U.S. over the last year as well.
You're brought in from various companies throughout our space. You're brought into the generic events. I know that you're a guy who's definitely left an indelible mark. And not only are you a dear friend, but you're a guy who's making a difference in people's lives. So I'll just tell you, on behalf of the entire profession, thank you for what you do, my friend.
Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you here today.
Hey, it's an honor to have you on the show. Todd, I'd love for you to share with our viewers where they could find your information.
They can find me, toddfalcone.com, TODDFALCONE.com is the best place to catch me, and that's where I am.
Well, Todd, thanks for hanging out with us. I know you're going to have a great time here in the States as you get back on the normal time zone. Thanks for coming on. We'll have you on sometime in the near future. And I want you guys at home to stay tuned because we're going to come back with a final segment of Straight Talk. We're going to put all this back together, nuts and bolts, show you how to explode your business. No smoke, no hype, no mirrors, but how to have straight talk to success. I'm Michael Hamburger. Look forward to you dialing back in. We'll be back right after this message. Hi, and welcome back. Michael Hamburger here. Welcome to Straight Talk. Now, I told you at the beginning of our show here today that we were going to have a power hour, but I think I was wrong. We had some killer content, and I'm completely blown away. You know, normally we would just be talking a little bit about the end here, but what I really want to do here today is I want to compare notes. You know, what we took away from each of our three guests could be some of the most life-changing, impactful information. And I took pages of notes here, and I want to share with my notes and what I've learned from this here today. So, you know, I'll tell you, as a leader in our industry, the first thing is we're always learning. So let's compare notes. You know, Jeremy Roma shared with us the art of the launch. And probably the biggest thing I took away from Jeremy was how you compress time. You know, Jeremy shared that he talked to 157 people in a 3.5-day span. And 144 people told him no, whereas 13 of those people told him yes. You know, I think back to my telecommunications, my first training in telecommunications, and they shared with us that we wanted to count no's. 10 to 20 people telling you no would equal yes. And looking at Jeremy's numbers, that's true. Think about that. 13 people that told him yes, a few years later equals an organization that exceeds 30,000 people in countless countries. You know, what Jeremy shared was how you build momentum from Jump Street, from the time that you sign your distributor agreement to how you start building your business. And Jeremy shared some very vital information. For many of you, you may have spouses or family members that this is some of that crazy thing you're doing. But what Jeremy shared is how you take your family member and how you get them to be engaged in the business, right? You make the juice worth the squeeze. And Jeremy shared with you that you talk about how you let your family know that they may be off balance, right? That over the next 90 days that you're going to be a ghost, that you're going to be supporting your team, that you're going to be sharing the plan, and how you enroll each of your family members in a reward system. The last time I launched my business, I had that conversation with my wife and our 2 daughters. And I let them know that Dad was going to be absent, that I was going to be out building my business. And each one of my family members knew that for each new area that we hit, whether it was a rank or a check, that everybody in the family was getting rewarded. And it was beautiful because the way that worked is as we progressed along, our daughters knew. They knew and they could see the rewards. They could see the juice being worth the squeeze. You know, you've got 90 days, as Jeremy shared, to create momentum and to create success stories within your organization, to help your brand new people create a check. And that can be the difference between people building big checks and people building little checks. But it can also be the difference between you hitting a rank or hitting an achievement, a reward in your company. That's going to be the difference between you being with the company today and not being with the company tomorrow, right? I've seen this. I used it myself. And I can tell you it absolutely works. So I'm really glad Jeremy was able to share that with us. But also what I love Jeremy said is getting uncomfortable with the process. In the beginning, it's okay to feel uncomfortable, but you get better only by doing it. So launch your business properly, whether you're brand new or whether you're just looking to have a relaunch. Launch your business properly. I love what Travis Flaherty shared with us, and that's once you've created momentum. Travis talked about creating trust and honesty and how that equates to confidence. Being okay with being the example in front of your group. And that's the only way to be with your group. You've got to be the beacon of example, the merchant of hope. Not just a guy shaking your fist, telling your team, this is what you should do, but instead you're saying, look, this is what I am doing. When you do that, people will follow you in droves. So thank you for sharing that, Travis. Travis also, what he shared, made me think about one question. And that question is what I have to ask myself. Would I follow me? If I was getting started right now and I was the guy on the other end of the phone, would I get started with me? Would I follow me? Am I being a beacon of hope? So ask yourself that. Hopefully that will change your perspective on business. And actually, this is how you build in depth. And then finally, our friend Todd Falcone. Todd talked about the secret to sustainable growth and success. And Todd broke it down very simply. You find the system in your company that's working right now. You find the scripts that your mentors have, and you follow them step by step. I'll never forget, when I first got restarted the second time in network marketing, there were some systems and scripts in place, and I followed them to the letter. And I watched my business explode. I watched my team members explode. And it was kind of crazy. The lady that wrote the script that I used, she joined my team just a few years ago. And it was the same system. Yes, technology changed, but the system, the bolts, the nuts and bolts of everything was still the same. Follow that leader. And I'll tell you though, you want to make sure that you're not just following someone else's system, that you're following the system that works. And I'll tell you, vet the leaders you're looking to work with, the people in your community. Ask yourself, are they worthy of following? Is their check the type of check that you want to emulate? Todd talked about having all eggs in one basket. I shared the story of burning the boats. Are you completely all chips in? Are you a person that's going to be there for your team today and tomorrow? And I can tell you, people understand that. As Todd said, you put all your eggs in the basket and you build your team brick by brick by brick. So maybe you're asking yourself, I'm in, now what? Each of us, each of our hosts, we're about to edit there. So now what? What I love about our guests here today is that every one of our guests, they're independent. My business has nothing to do with theirs. Their businesses have nothing to do with mine. And they just love to share. And what you'll find is successful people in network marketing, they like to get together, like to hang out. They like to share their insight. They love to watch the rising tide raise all boats, all ships. And the fact that you're tuned in here today, that tells me without a shadow of a doubt, you're here for the long haul. And I'll tell you again, be careful of the mentors you follow. Be careful. Everybody has an opinion, but make sure it's the right opinion, someone who is there for the right reasons. And you're going to know, you'll be able to separate the wheat from the chaff relatively quickly. So the number one thing you do right now is you put this into action. Don't let's just go in one ear and out the other. Put this into action. You've learned from 3 different distinct leaders of leaders, who've built tremendous sales organizations in network marketing. Put their plan into action. If you have to watch this show again, watch it again. I suggest you get it out to your team members. I can just tell you this, that everything we heard from today reminds me of the story of the baby. We all enter the world relatively the same way. We come in as a baby. It's a monumental thing when we learn how to roll over, from the blob laying in bed in your crib to rolling over. It's a monumental occasion. Your mom and dad call each other, and then you sit up. We learn to sit up. Again, another monumental occurrence in the life and the path of a baby. And then you learn how to crawl, and you fall down, and you learn how to walk, and you bust your knees open, and you learn how to jump and how to run. And your parents are sitting there, and they're every step of the way. But it doesn't stop the baby. If you're able to stand and walk and talk and run and crawl and roll over, then obviously it worked for you. And you took some bumps and bruises along the way. But as a network marketer, I want you to think of that parallel to your life. So many marketers, they come in with great intentions. They get one no, they close up shop, and they say that didn't work. You know what? It does work if you work. Get uncomfortable, take the bumps, take the bruises. I promise you the juice is worth the squeeze. And I can tell you I'm honored to be your host here today, to share this information. I'm very humbled to be the guy that's the messenger. I would invite you to come back and let's share the next evolution in our success, and let's continue to learn together. Thanks for tuning in. This is Straight Talk, and I'm your host, Michael Hamburger, and we'll see you around the bend.